The structure in way of the air cases should be carefully examined. Ensure proper refit of the case. Glass reinforced plastic lifeboats. Boats should be lifted clear of stowage chocks and the external shell cleaned for examination. The hull gel coat should be visually inspected for evidence of cracking or crazing, contact damage or general deterioration, and tested for delamination by light sounding. Surface defects should be repaired by grinding the gel coat back to sound material, reinforcing the ground out area with chopped strand mat or a matte resin mixture as necessary, facing over with resin and fairing off when cured. More serious defects involving through shell fractures or holes are to be repaired by either manufacturer's representatives or a firm familiar with glass reinforced fiber. All repairs should be carried out as per manufacturer's approved FRP repair procedures or processes, including matte and resins for proper secondary bonds. Internal examination of the boat should commence with the inspection of all structural and hull stiffening members. The shell should be examined for evidence of stress and impact fractures, particularly in way of gunwale, keel, and hull bottom. The bonding of the buoyancy casing to the hull should be inspected for signs of failure and the vertical and horizontal surfaces examined, especially for damage that would allow water to penetrate into the foam buoyancy and cause its disintegration. All exposed structural laminates should be examined for possible defects from prolonged exposure to weather, the most serious of which is leaching. This will reveal itself in areas from which the resin has been eroded, thus leaving the reinforced mat exposed and vulnerable to further damage. All internally fitted components should be examined for security and condition, with particular attention to through hull connections. Wood components, thwarts, floorboards, and packing pieces should be tested for decay or dry rot. The hull structure should be examined where tie bars are secured for any evidence of working or stress cracking. Any defects found would require the removal of the hook. For further examination of the underlying structure. The lifting hook securing arrangement and its attachment to deck, hull, and keel plate, together with the condition of the boat in way, should be closely examined to assess the condition of its component parts for wastage and general security. Enclosed fire-protected lifeboats. The same procedure should be followed for hull inspections for GRP lifeboats. Additional aspects to be considered are the following. The spray system. The main engine-operated pump circulates water to a piping system fitted around the boat, running under each gunwale outboard and also on top of the canopy. Spray heads are fitted at sufficiently close intervals to provide a complete and continuous cover of hull and canopy. The complete arrangement of seacock, pump, piping, spray heads, and securing clips and bolts should be examined for condition and the system operationally tested. Steering machinery. The steering arrangement should be examined for condition and operationally tested hard over to both sides. The connection to the rudder head should be inspected and the rudder gland checked for water tightness. If steering cables are fed through a conduit, sufficient length of the cable should be seen to determine the overall condition. The engine mounting frame should be inspected for condition and security, and the stern gland examine for undue leakage. Engine securing bolts and other connections should also be examined. If engine keel cooling systems are fitted, attention should be given to through fasteners. Lifeboat, rescue boat survey. General advice for surveys. There should be no movements when boats are in stowed condition. Grab rails around the boat, especially handrails on totally enclosed boats, should be checked. Verify that all required markings like vessel's name, port of registry, capacity, etc. are clearly visible on the outside of the boat. Skate securing arrangements should be carefully examined, together with their release mechanism from the lifeboat. The hull of the boat in way of the skates should also be carefully examined. Ensure that reflective tape is in place on the outside of the boat. Check the bilge pumps and their hoses. For boats fitted with motors, check the starter batteries to ensure that they are satisfactory and charged, including those for searchlights. Examine the engine exhaust pipe for corrosion and adequate insulation and tightness. Examine ducts and manual dampers for air-cooled engines and partially, totally enclosed boats. Check that non-skid surfaces, if applicable, are in satisfactory condition. Verify the markings of plugs, their condition and attachment by chain. For partially or totally enclosed lifeboats, examine the foldable canopies or rigid covers and all closing appliances. Check the safety belts where fitted. Rescue boats. Means for towing should be checked and the weather-tight enclosures for small equipment should be examined. If the rescue boat is inflatable, ensure compliance with previously noted regulations and that no unauthorized repairs were made. If fitted with an outboard engine, it should be treated as a fixed engine for testing and survey requirements. It should be ensured that approved engine has not been replaced. Flotation foam must not be exposed to atmosphere and water. During survey, effort should be made to ensure that the boat has not been accidentally lifted while still secured to boat support by close-up examination of lifting arrangement connections. Lifeboat equipment, general. All equipment should be checked for quantity against the SLE record, as well as for condition and continued efficiency and its stowage. 1983 amendments require all lifeboats to be motor-propelled and either fully or partially enclosed and self-righting. So, equipments like gunwale to gunwale grab lines, steering oar, mast, stays and sails, exposure cover, oil lamp, 2 boxes of matches, storm oil and bag are no longer required in new lifeboats. Guidance for examination of lifeboat equipment. Oars, thole pins and crutches. The oars should be buoyant and of appropriate length for the boat. Motor lifeboats should have 4 rowing oars and 1 steering oar, unless specified otherwise by the manufacturer. 1 set of oar locks, thole pins or crutches, either permanently attached or secured by a chain or lanyard, are to be provided. Ensure thole pins are not rotted or fractured and are securely mounted. Boat hooks. The recommended style of boat hooks has a single hook and ball point. It should be at least 2.4 meters, 8 feet long, and a handle of at least 38 millimeters, 1.5 inches in diameter. Ensure pole is not dry rotted. Bailers and buckets. The bailer must be buoyant or secured by a lanyard. Buckets should be of corrosion-resistant material and of at least 7.5 liters 2 gallons capacity. A lanyard of at least 2 meters should be attached to the bail of each bucket. Survival Manual. The manual is normally provided by the boat manufacturer and should be printed on waterproof paper or plastic. The list of contents for the Survival Manual is as per IMO Resolution A657-16, Instructions for Action in Survival Craft. Compass and Binnacle. The compass must have a luminous dial or the binnacle must be illuminated. The compass bowl should be filled with fluid without bubbles. The card should be free to rotate and the markings should be legible. If the condition of the compass is doubtful, then its reading should be compared with known bearings. In a totally enclosed lifeboat, the binnacle should be fitted permanently at the steering position, while for any other lifeboat, the binnacle must be provided with suitable mounting arrangements. Sea anchor, hawser, and tripping line. The sea anchor should be free of rips, tears, patches, or weakened areas. The hawser should be shock resistant, usually in nylon line will suffice, and must be run out to check its length and condition. A recommended minimum length of 10 meters, 33 feet. The tripping line should be large enough to allow a firm grip when wet. Painters. Painter line should be run out to check for the minimum required length and condition. If made of natural fiber, it should be examined for mildew, dry rot, or other damage. If made of synthetic material, damage caused by ultraviolet light should be checked. Hatchets. Hatchets should be stowed fore and aft near the release hooks and secured to the boat by a lanyard long enough to allow them to reach the falls and painter. They should be free of rust and reasonably sharp. Water and desalting apparatus. Cans or pouches containing water should be free from visible damage. They should be watertight and airtight. All containers past their expiry dates should be replaced immediately, while containers without expiry dates should be replaced 5 years past their packing date. Dipper. The dipper should be rust-proof and secured to the boat by a lanyard. In addition, it should be suitable for dipping water from the lifeboat's drinking water storage tanks. Drinking cup. The drinking cup should be rust-proof, graduated, and secured to the boat by a lanyard. Food rations. Food ration packaging should be intact and in good condition. Rations past their expiry dates or more than 5 years past their manufacture date, if no expiry date is given, should be replaced. The manufacturer's vacuum seal should be intact. Parachute flares, hand flares, and smoke signals. The required number and type of pyrotechnic items should be verified. Pyrotechnics past their expiry date of more than 4 years past their manufacture date, if no expiry date is given, should be replaced. If expiry or manufacture date is absent or illegible, the pyrotechnics should be replaced. Electric torch, spare batteries, and bulb. The flashlight should be in working condition. Batteries should be replaced if damaged or deteriorated past their expiry date or annually. Signal mirror. If the mirror is packed in an undamaged, legibly marked package, it can be accepted for further use and need not be opened for examination. First aid outfit. The first aid outfit should be packed in an undamaged, waterproof case with contents listing. The entire outfits or any individual medications should be replaced if past their expiry date. Jackknife. The jackknife should be free of rust and reasonably sharp. Tin openers. The can openers can be free of rust and capable of opening any cans carried in the lifeboat. Rescue coils. The heaving lines should be buoyant lines in satisfactory condition, at least 30 meters in length, and with a buoyant quoit attached to the end. Manual pump. The pump should be operationally tested to confirm its condition. Fishing tackle. The fishing kit should be packed in an undamaged, legibly marked package which can be accepted for further use and need not be opened for examination. Engine tools. The tool kit should contain sufficient tools which are free of rust and are in good condition for making minor adjustments to the engine. Recommended contents include a ball peen hammer, screwdriver, slip joint pliers, an adjustable wrench. Portable fire extinguisher. The fire extinguisher should be suitable for extinguishing oil fires and serviced by an approved external specialist within the last 12 months. Searchlight. The searchlight should have a fixed or removable mounting so that the light may be operated by the boat operator. It should be confirmed in working condition, and wiring connecting it to the power source should be in satisfactory condition. Requirements related to periodic servicing of launching appliances. Launching appliances should be serviced at recommended intervals in accordance to the instructions for on-board maintenance. These should be subjected to a thorough examination at intervals not exceeding 5 years. Launching appliances and winch brake should be subjected to annual thorough examination and testing. Examination and testing performed by the manufacturer's representative or a person appropriately trained and certified by manufacturer may be limited to review ship's log and onboard documentation and certification from the manufacturer. The examination and testing need not be witnessed by ABS survey. If these tests and examinations are performed by properly trained personnel familiar with the system, but they have not been certified by the manufacturer, then these tests and examination shall be done in the presence of a surveyor. 5-year overhaul and dynamic test of the winch brake shall be done in the presence of a surveyor. Requirements listed in the IMO Maritime Safety Committee Circular 1206, measures to prevent accidents with lifeboats, need to be adhered to. Requirements related to periodic servicing of on-load release gear. The primary aim of such a release equipment is to facilitate the safe release of rafts, rescue or lifeboats from the davit falls during an evacuation, especially in heavy weather conditions. This device is of complex construction and must be adjusted and maintained at all times as well as properly operated. Regular training for full crew members in the correct operation of this equipment is mandatory. Free-fall lifeboats. Primary and secondary means of launching and primary and secondary release gear of free-fall lifeboat are subject to the servicing and thorough examination requirements. The secondary means of launching is to undergo the dynamic winch brake test, and the release gear is to undergo the on-load release operational test, depending on the design parameters. Periodic survey. Operation of both primary and secondary means of launching and release gear are to be demonstrated. The renewal survey. Free-fall lifeboat together with on-load release are to be subjected to test 1.1 times the total mass of lifeboat rescue boat together with calibrated weights. It should be unmanned. Davit launched life raft with automatic release hooks. Survey. The operation of automatic release hooks should be verified by suspending an appropriate weight, setting the hook, and then lowering the weight to the deck, where it should be automatically released. IMO has adopted numerous recommendations and guidelines relating to safety and survival at sea in the form of resolutions and circulars. While these are not mandatory, they form a core element of the technical recommendations, and many are accepted as industry standards. Some of the other regulations of IMO are the International Convention on Maritime Search and Rescue, the International Safety Management Code, regulations for the Global Maritime Distress and Safety System, the International Convention on Standards of Training, Certification and Watchkeeping for Seafarers, etc.